Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Food Origins Podcast. It's episode 46 with my friend Andy Hung of Dojo Outfitters. He's the CEO and founder of Dojo Outfitters in Portland, Oregon. We're on location in his shop. He's a lifelong martial artist, been doing martial arts for over 25 years. He's a double black belt in Judo and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We have a mutual instructor in Mike Prudencio of One World Jiu Jitsu, so shout out to everyone at One World. And we sat down and had a great conversation. It was so much fun. Thanks to Andy for being the first guy to provide some of his apparel for the podcast. This is it right here. Come and take it. Logo's right there on the back. Got the Scorpion logo, so appreciate you for that. And we had a fun conversation, talking about how he got from Hawaii onto the mainland and it ended up in Portland, Oregon. And we talked good things about the Hawaii and Portland food scene and business advice, going through everything that he's gone through, having a 10-year business with Dojo Outfitters. So enjoy this episode. Take care. Right on.
Yo,
We're here.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we're here. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, on location in Portland, Oregon. Here with Andy Hung, owner of Dojo Outfitters. And I've known Andy for quite some time.
Yep.
We go pretty way back, training under Mike Prudencio at One World Jiu Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to everybody, One World, and shout out to Mike. Andy's a long time martial artist. Quite the resume. Judoka, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, both double black belt in both. You can probably go into detail on those. And you're from Hawaii.
From Oahu, Pearl City. Yeah, Pearl City in the house.
Yeah. So tell us where you're from. Tell us your background, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm born and raised on Oahu, specifically Pearl City. And a lot of people know Pearl Harbor. It's a Navy base. And Pearl City is essentially like right above it. It's in central Oahu. I was born and raised there. And I spent my whole life, we'll get into it, but like eating Hawaiian food, plate lunches, like kind of just always thought that was the food scene because that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
But no, I just went to school there, went to high school, found judo in intermediate school, and kind of just took off from there and never stopped doing it. So that all started when I was about 13, got into martial arts, and I'm 38 now. So like a certified 25 years in the game. So I always tell people, like, even though I'm 38, I probably age in like dog years. So I feel like a lot older. But just love the martial arts journey. Like you said, we're on location in Dojo Outfitters. Dojo Outfitters is a brick and mortar judo and jiu-jitsu store. And we cater towards like, judo and jiu-jitsu martial artists. We sell no-gi, we sell gi, we sell belts. We have merchandise. You're obviously wearing the stuff today too.
Yeah, thank you.
We just turned 10 in September. So from a small kid from Oahu to running a 10-year brick and mortar store on top of the martial arts career, I love everything I do.
Yeah, Andy knows. I've been wearing his no-gi kits for quite some time.
Yeah.
I actually take him on the road with me everywhere, especially on this road trip. So hence the road beard.
I think the road beard looks good though.
Yeah, the wifey likes it. She's like, "Don't shave." So
there you go.
She's like, "Hey, just keep it for the pod." I was like, "Usually for the podcast too." She's like, "Yeah, just
keep it,
just let it go." And it's been fun, man. And I hit Andy up, said we were coming into town, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And it's I like talking to people from all over, and Andy has an awesome background. And you grew up in Hawaii. Tell us about what's it like growing up in Hawaii, and what'd you eat as a kid? And
growing up in central Oahu, I mean, if you look at the map, we're right in the middle. So if you wanted to go to the beach, you wanted to go hike, you wanted to do bike riding anywhere, like we could do anything. So growing up as kids, me and my older brother, we kind of didn't really know anything else and how good we actually had it, like growing up there, like the culture, the people, the aloha spirit. It's just whenever I was just back there like 2 weeks ago, and like it still has, like, it obviously has changed. The culture changed. I also changed as a man too, but that strong aloha spirit and like just feeling the culture, like we stay right off Kapuhulu downtown, so we're right in the thick of basically everything. But man, growing up there, eating delicious food, whether you just like get together with cousins. It's always, I was actually going to bring up something about, you know, kind of like the Hawaii food scene, like a lot of potluck style, like always like I'll bring the rice and the chicken and you bring the juice and the Kalbi beef, and like you're going to bring some taco. Like you're like, it's always been like a community type of gathering. And that was true with my family. If we'd go to, you know, China, I'm half Chinese, so even going to like Qingming or like New Year's, or there'd always be a lot of like Chinese food around. And
Yeah. What's the other half?
I'm actually like European, like Jewish European. I did like 21 and whatever it is. What is it? Like ancestry DNA before I had my 2 babies, and it came back, and I was like, man, my mom always said that we were Italian, but we have like 0 Italian, and it's like somebody along the way lied. But no, like European and half Chinese.
Yeah. No, my brother did ours, and it got interesting too.
Yeah.
Because we're half Japanese, like half Jewish, I guess, and then there's like 10% Korean in there too.
Okay. Yep.
And we're like, oh, don't tell mom.
Let her believe.
Yeah. So yeah, I love I mean, Hawaii is known for being a melting pot of different, you know, ethnicities anyway. So just hearing you, you know, talk about just getting together and everyone has something to bring. And some people, you know, the fish over there, they're going to have fish on hand.
Yeah.
And you said taco, which is octopus, right?
It was pork, Kahlua pork, like, yeah, any type of like, it's just the incredible scene. Like I remember actually being in elementary school, and they would have lay day, and they would actually make like Kahlua pork, lomi lomi salmon, poi, like chicken long rice, and that was like what elementary school, like kids are eating that, getting down on that. So just looking back on it, like, man, just, you know, very fortunate that I grew up in that melting pot. Like I don't necessarily identify myself as a minority, but I'm Asian. And in Hawaii, like everybody's mixed, like everybody's something, and the culture is it's very unique. And whenever I go back or like touch down there, it's almost like I just fall like right back into, you know, being that age again and being around the Hawaiian culture for sure.
Yeah. And I did, you know, if you look at Andy Nawaza on Instagram, his Instagram, if you do a deep dive, you see a ton of martial arts. You see a lot of the training you've been doing, traveling. And then I was looking at for some food stuff, and I was like, oh, there's got to be a couple spots in Hawaii that he goes to all the time. Gina's Barbecue.
Oh, see, you already know. Yes, Gina's Barbecue. They actually catered my wedding.
Oh,
like, my wife put me on the Gina's, and like she's from town. She's from like Kapahulu, like Diamond Head.
Yeah.
So her eating spots is different than my eating spots in Central Oahu. So even just like talking about it out loud, like even different spots on the island, I wasn't exposed to Gina's Barbecue because it's more by Diamond Head side. But long story short, my wife was like, oh, let's go to Gina's. I was like, what is that? And she's like, you never had Gina's plate lunch? I said, no. She's like, you got to go. That was probably like 10 years ago. So every time I get off the plane, my in-laws already know the first thing we're going to go to is go to Gina's. I get the chicken katsu, I get the barbecue beef, I get the choy sum vegetables, like, and then we were looking for a caterer for our wedding, and my wife was like, we should just get Gina's to do it. And I was like, yeah, it has significance in our life. Let's do it. So herself, like, I doubt her real name is Gina. Maybe it is. Just tiny, like Korean lady, like small Korean lady. She was actually like the one we've been seeing for the last 8 years or whatever it was. And she actually was there with her son, and they set everything up. And it was just like even just driving down here, I was like, I don't know if I have a food journey, but even in the earlier you talked about, like, everybody has a food journey.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about it, like, man, that Gina's spot, it has a special place in my heart. I want to say they have 1 or 2 or 3 on the island now. And when I went back, there was new faces there, but the food quality everything was still on point. So that's just like one of the places that I always have to touch down. Gina's Barbecue, right in downtown Kapahulu. I actually always share it when my friends go to Oahu. I'm like, you got to go to Gina's. You got to go to Gina's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And then there's a lot of places. I mean, I've been down there too, but like there's another one you were talking about. I think it's Shiro's Simon.
Yeah,
Simon.
Shiro's Simon is right in Pro City. That's another spot that I kind of found a little bit later in life. I think my palate kind of like changed and adapted over time. But Shiro's Ramen, it's been there for a long time. Like, man, the chicken katsu there, and like you could go there and like really get down on some grub, and like they do it the right way. And even like the experience of going into these these eateries, like the aloha spirit is there because like the servers are really nice. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of your listeners or you yourself has been to Hawaii, and like it's a very unique experience. If you've never gone there, obviously, do your research or to hit up people. You could hit me up on Instagram, like you said, and to say, hey, what was that place again? But like the down to like the servers and the kitchen and the staff and just the ambiance of the restaurant, it just hits different in Hawaii.
It does. On the service is always good. It's laid back, the laid back style. Everything might not come out on time.
Yeah.
It's a little slower in Hawaii. More sandals.
The Hawaiian time. Yep.
Everyone's wearing more sandals and shorts.
Yep.
But that's you're also there to kind of relax too. And it's you have like all these different spots to go to. Like I like Ono Seafood. You know that place?
Yeah.
For poke.
Yeah, Ono Seafood, Tanioka's in Waipahu was another place that we were going to look at for catering for a wedding. And like when you got there, they let you sample, like they'll have samples of like, this is what the food will be like and this is what it will look like. And like it's almost like my wife was like, don't eat when we go to these wedding spots because they're going to have samples and they're going to feed you when you're there. So I was like, oh, okay. But Tanioka's is a good place for fish. That's right in Waipahu. Another weird thing about me, I actually don't eat fish and I don't eat pork. So I'm like a weird island guy. For sure.
Yeah. So that was one thing I looked up. That was the other thing, kind of a strange facts with Andy is that he didn't eat pork at all. And you've tried it though, I think a while back, right?
Yes, I tried it.
Why is that?
Man, I don't know. I used to eat it when I was a kid too. I
Okay.
don't know if it was just like a mindset thing. Like I'm actually like really weird when it comes to like eating things. I'll eat the same thing. I could eat the same thing every day and not have a problem. Like right before you came, I smashed this whole bento that I made just to tri-tip broccoli rice. And I'll eat that. I could probably eat that for dinner and I could eat that tomorrow. Or like I'm very kind of monotonous, I guess, in a way. But man, chicken, like not eating fish, like in Hawaii, like so many people give me crap for that, where it's like, man, they have some of the best fish, the poke and everything is there. And I'm like, I just never got down on it. And my brother actually eats a little bit of it, but even then he's not really like big in the pork and big in the fish. It's probably coming from where my parents didn't really expose those two in my household.
Yeah.
My mom was from Jersey City, New Jersey. And my dad was local poke Chinese. So for the like whatever was, it's kind of, talking about it out loud with you, it's kind of like your parents are the first ones that expose you to the palette of food, what's in the house.
Yeah.
So for me, realizing it, like there wasn't that much pork, there wasn't that much fish. But even though my dad was a local, poke Chinese guy, he didn't really get down that much on it.
Okay. What did you? What was some of the things your parents made?
I remember doing a lot of hibachi steak. Like my dad used to do like. My brother still has the original hibachi in Kailua. Like it's like charcoal, it's small, and like who knows how old those grills are because they probably been washed hundreds of times. But it's just like the most bare bones hibachi grill ever. So you just put some charcoal in there. I remember doing a lot of steak with my dad, and then you would make the instant ramen, and then you would kind of like spice it up with some steak and put some stuff in there. So it's like, I don't know. I just have some distinct memories of actually grilling with him. That's pretty unique. My mom was pretty like haole, where it's just like chicken nuggets, chicken patties. Like my mom was like definitely on the haole end, but my dad would make sure that we got
Means American or white.
Yeah. Haole means like white, essentially. It's a colloquial term.
Yeah.
Pake is like local Chinese, but like just being again, kind of acknowledging that melting pot. Like locals have different slang for every different ethnicity on the island. Hapa. We're both Hapa. Yeah. Hapa haole.
Yep.
So Hapa means half. So in this case, we're both Hapa haole because we're half white, half Asian.
Yep. Crazy. The scene is so diverse. There's one dish that always comes up when everyone talks about Hawaii is spam musubi.
Well, your boy doesn't eat spam though.
I know.
I think as I've gotten older, I think like I just like to have like a more whole food. Like I want to know what it is. Whereas spam, it's like it's still up for debate. Like what is it? Yeah. There's that thin layer of like gelatinous, like
preservative.
What is that? And I'm that kind of guy that's like, oh yeah, let me eat that. Like I just don't. It's just not appealing to me. No. Although I get the spam is like it's generationally been. Number one in Hawaii forever. Yeah.
Yeah. You have every flavor. It has like, you can put it on a shelf and get back to it 5 years later.
25 years, you still have spam. Like you could,
Yeah.
Nuclear fallout, it will still be there.
Yeah.
It's one of those meals, you know. I mean, you don't have to have it for sure. And I was talking to you earlier with someone else another guest I had on about clean eating, and that is something that happens too when you get older. You're like, oh, I can't eat fast food like I used to. I can't have, like it doesn't sit well with me anymore. Or, some people develop intolerances, whether it's for dairy or for whatever it is, or sometimes you find later.
Yeah.
Was there stuff that was the one thing I was going to ask you? So there's certain things you didn't eat, but is there anything you didn't like as a kid or even later? You're like, oh man, I just don't eat this. Like this is just not.
There's a lot. There's
Okay.
a lot of them. Like hot dogs. I used to eat hot dogs as a kid.
Okay.
Don't do hot dogs anymore. Don't
Yeah.
eat sausage anymore. Like I said, I'm the minority, and the thing about me is like I realize that I'm a weirdo. So like when people are like, "Hey, have some of this," I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Or like I ate already. Like my whole life is always like, oh, you know what? I ate already, and I'll just go home and eat something different.
Yeah, but I don't think it's weird because everyone has like shout out to Greg Lappin. He's that episode will be out too. Is Greg just eats steak now? He's mostly eating beef, knows where the beef comes from. He has a cattle farm that he's talking to. And then, the rest is just other protein or veg. And he's like, that keeps me lean to train.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're like, I need to stay leaner and stronger.
Yeah.
And so, educating yourself on food has been huge in the last, it's come up a lot lately.
I think you nailed it because I consider myself to be an athlete. I'm not always on the mat anymore as much as I travel for defensive tactics we talked earlier.
Yeah.
I have 2 young babies. I have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. And like my life just looks completely different. So when it comes time to like eating, I'm just like, I don't really want, for me too, again, I'm a weirdo. I don't even like to even try new things. Like my mindset's like locked in. Like I'm gonna go to this restaurant, never been there before. I'm gonna get the steak, or the chicken or whatever it is. And I already kind of zoned in what I want to eat there.
Yeah.
So for me, where it's like, a little more simplified, like rice, usually nowadays is white rice because my boys like white rice, but white rice, a vegetable, and a protein. And I don't really change it any much from that. And another thing that I was actually going to bring it up, now that I'm getting older, I'm 38, so my metabolism has gotten so slow. I'll eat like 2 meals and I have to like almost like force myself to have like a second meal because I'm like, oh man, I'm still full even though I ate like 6 or 7 hours ago, but I guess I have to have dinner.
Yeah.
So the caloric intake has changed, like the level of protein and fiber and carbs also changed. But nowadays I'm basically just doing 2 meals. I'll skip breakfast. I skipped breakfast today, and I'll eat like a lunch and a dinner. And for me, not only does it like offset the calories, because I'm still working on it almost every day, but it's not as intense as it was when I was younger.
Yeah, also like judo days, training like sometimes twice a day, right?
Yeah, twice a day, or even the intensity of the training is not the same what it used to be, and it can't be given how my life is. But I still get after it, kettlebells and whatnot, but it's just not this. It's not the same.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, just like it's just crazy how as I mature and as I change, my diet also reflects that too.
Yeah. Jose Palacios wanted me to ask you this. You're a whiskey guy.
Big whiskey guy, yeah.
What's funny is we have these when we do promotions at One World. We usually have a potluck, or sometimes it's catered, but oftentimes it's potluck, and we'll all bring something. Andy, for some reason, always has whiskey in the trunk of his car.
Brings the party. Yeah, it helps bring the party, start the party.
What's your favorite?
My favorite, I mean, that could be a whole nother podcast, but I'm gonna go in like layers because like like the favorite budget, I gotta go like Buffalo Trace, and Buffalo Trace in Oregon at least is readily available. It could be allocated in some states, and like the fact that some people in some states can't get it or can't even see it, and I could go to like pretty much every liquor store in Oregon and get a bottle of Buffalo Trace. Like that's gonna be my go-to. Probably always have like 1 or 2 bottles on hand for sure. So put that in my casket when I go. Put one of those in the casket when it's my time to head out. Buffalo Trace got to be like
some katsu. He said too.
Chicken katsu at my wake. Have some bulgogi beef. Like eat good. and drink good and like celebrate life. So definitely write that down for me when I go. But Buffalo Trace, I think like middle tier. For me, middle tier is like $60, $75. Like I know people will have different tiers, but for me, it's like Buffalo Trace is like $20, $30 or whatever. But I'm gonna say like Knob Creek 12 is actually pretty fire. Like Knob Creek 12, it's a little bit rarer to get in Oregon, but like it's like almost like you're like, I don't know what it is. It's like you're drinking like leather, but in a good way, or like a cigar. Like it's definitely like an old, like it's like it tastes like an old man's smoking chair. As disgusting as that sounds, like I would want to drink that, but no, Knob Creek 12 is pretty fire.
Okay.
And if you're gonna talk about Jose, he busted out this. Shout out to Jose, by the way. He's also my whiskey plug too. He busted out this Wild Turkey 12. I think he got it in Saipan or Japan or something. It's only allocated in like duty-free places around pretty much like, I want to say he got it in Japan, but he busted it out at the most recent promotion. And like, as soon as I saw the bottle, I was like, bro, what? And he's like, yeah, we're going to open it. I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, God bless you. So he poured it out and like, dude, he shared it with everybody. That's something about Jose. Talking about Jose, like, dude, he's generous. He's black belt now.
Yep. Congrats. We got ours the same day.
Yeah. You guys are classmates together, you know?
It's nuts.
Jiu-Jitsu.
It's nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
But those three, just to keep it, because, you know, we could be here a whole nother episode about bourbon, but just those three, Buffalo Trace, probably Knob Creek 12, and like that Wild Turkey, that thing was hitting hard. Blanton's is there. Blanton's is good.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have, you know, they talk about it a lot, and it could be polarizing where people are like overrated or, you know, whatever. I think it's still good. It's single barrel bourbon. It's from Buffalo Trace family, so you know the quality's gonna be there. And I feel like that's like, I have a couple bottles stashed at home too. Eagle Rare. I mean, dude, let's be honest. Kirkland. Let's talk about Kirkland whiskey. This stuff is fire.
Yeah.
Like it's actually harder. They don't even have it up here in Oregon because the liquor is all state owned.
Okay.
So you can't go to a Safeway or a Costco to get hard liquor. You got to go to the actual liquor store.
Interesting.
But when I'm in the Bay, I go to pretty much like 3 different Costco's, always looking for, you know, what that state or what that Costco has.
What's it putting out?
But Kirkland, if you can, it's like $20 for like 2 liters. It's incredible, and like it's actually quality stuff too.
Yeah, they do their research, man. They, you know, it may be branded Kirkland, but like I've been hearing a lot, like with a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
Because you know they're gonna produce a ton of it, so
yeah.
It's got to be decent at least.
We could do a whole nother podcast on just eating at Costco, because I almost named my son Kirkland. Like I love Costco loyalist. I should get it tattooed on me. I'm a loyalist to Costco. And like their tri-tip, like I do a big tri-tip. At one point, my wife my first son had like food intolerances, and my wife only ate like Costco chicken and like zucchini for like 8 months. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's where the podcast wants to go, but yeah, they have good stuff. Yeah.
We got to ask you, what about Japanese whiskey?
Japanese whiskey, yeah. My guy,
a couple bottles stored around here.
The Yamazaki 12 just sitting there unopened.
Yeah.
My guy Lee Seto, he's a black belt. He's a Marcelo Alonso guy. He hit me with that when the store opened. Early times, that's like a little like burner bottle. But another friend of mine, Charlene, always hooks me up with Japanese whiskey. Admittingly, Japanese whiskey is not my favorite. I think like the smokiness throws me off. I think I'm in this like, because I drink so much bourbon, like the sweetness is what I desire. So if I'm going to be having a drink, again, that mindset of like, I already know what I like.
Yeah.
Don't try and show me anything new. I know what I want. Yeah. And then like, you know, I understand I get locked up, but that doesn't mean that I don't like Japanese whiskey. It's just like, I want to have a drink, I'll probably just have like some bourbon. Yeah. It's sweeter.
And you got gold standard over there too, Jameson.
JMO. Yep.
Right.
Yep. There's a bunch of bottles actually behind the espresso machine that I keep in the back. You'll get one with me before you leave for sure.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, you know, like I like that you have that diverse thing, and you know, sometimes people want to hear about alcohol. I mean, some people don't drink anymore, but a little bit with some dinner, it's pretty good. Yeah. And I was never a big drinker, and then actually it's probably Jose's fault. It's probably your fault that I had some whiskey a while back, like maybe just some simple like Suntory whiskey at San Pedro Square or something. And he was like, "Oh, we're all having shots." I was like, "Well, not shots, but we're all having a little bit." Yeah,
have one.
And then I was like, "Oh, that's actually not that bad."
Yeah,
You don't go crazy. I don't need a lot of it.
Yeah,
but a little bit with some dinner.
Enhances the flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
sure.
when you're with all your buddies,
Yeah.
you can't complain.
Well, it's cool now because, like, if me and Jose has done like bottle exchanges before, where I'll send him one that I like and he'll send me one.
Yeah.
My buddy Joe, who's a cop up in San Francisco too, we do bottle exchanges. If I lose, I'll do bets. I'll do bets with my guys where if I want one football team or one team and my other guy wants it, I'll say, we'll do $100 bottle, man. Let's see who wins.
Let's go.
And then, like, yeah, when you're drinking it, just send them a photo like, hey, thanks. This is a great victory for me. Or if you lose, and I lose a lot to my friend, I'm over here just paying for his whiskey like all the time. And I'm like, dude. So it kind of just became like a social thing. It's kind of fun, trying different palates.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where I'm a little more expensive versus food, where it's kind of like, even how people could view food, I never really thought about it, because to me, it's just like sustenance to me, really. Like I want flavor,
Yeah.
and I want to put care into it, but for me, it's probably because I spent my life, and I still consider myself an athlete. Like I just need the calories so I could either live or raise my babies or fight or train. So for me, it's not like super enjoyable. I'll just eat it. I'll have a good time with it, and then I have to, I want to get after it and go work out. And where I time my meals works out. Even when I eat, depends on if I'm working out that day. So I always time my meals around the workout.
Yeah. I mean, you just had to keep it simpler,
Yeah.
Like I was asking somebody that, was around a lot of the fighters. I'm like, what were they eating? He's like, dude, they were eating very clean. Like they can't eat greasy stuff.
Yeah.
They can't have donuts and whatever they want, because they won't perform
well. Yeah.
They won't make weight. There's just so many different aspects to it.
Yeah.
But we are in Portland, and Portland has a really good food scene.
Talked about that. Yes. Correct.
So, I went to Nong's yesterday, which is really good.
Yep.
She's been killing it since 2009. She's one of the OG food trucks out here.
Yeah.
And then now she has 2 brick and mortars.
Yep.
And she does the Hainan chicken and rice.
Yep.
And that was phenomenal. Are there some other spots you like?
Yeah, I like, man, it's funny because when we first moved here, and being from Hawaii, like sometimes you just want to scratch that Hawaiian itch, and we would go to, we would go to 808 Grinds, and at one point they had 808 Grinds was a food truck. 808 Grinds was a food truck, and they're from Maui. The 2 guys are from Maui. Unfortunately, I forget their names, but we would go there. Me and my wife would we were just kind of dating each other. We would go there for plate lunch and go there, and then eventually they moved and they opened up their own brick and mortar in Beaverton. So I was like, damn, I'm going to go support the homies. So we would go there every now and then. They make this guava chiffon cake, and my wife loves guava chiffon cake. So if it's a birthday, I'll hit them up and say, hey, I want to pick up. They usually sell by the slice, and I'll say, hey, let me get a whole cake for my wife's birthday or whatever. But it's just kind of like not only going there for the food, but I think it's another thing about the Hawaiian culture, and at least I know it's true to me, where it's like loyalty to, I guess, not blind loyalty, but like, hey, these guys are from Hawaii. They're trying to make it. I'm going to support their business. If they move, guess what? I'm going to still support their business. That's how I am with them. That's how I am with my barber. That's how I am with my photographer for all my products. Like, I think it might just be something being from Hawaii. There's a certain amount of loyalty, and I'll follow some of them. So 808 Grinds, I followed them. Brick and mortar. I want to say they have 2 brick and mortars and multiple trucks by now, but I remember when they was literally just the owners cooking up in the food truck, and that's probably like 10 years ago now. So to see them kind of blow up, 808 Grind, the fried chicken is awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's actually, I know you're headed out, but it's actually not that far from the shop. It's called 808 Grinds. It's right in Beaverton. You could probably zip over there in like 15 minutes. I would suggest something like that, because it's like every now and then. I was out in Pasco. This is a funny story about Hawaiian food. I was out in Pasco, which is like Tri-Cities, like Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, and there was a Polynesian cat. And he was from Tacoma. He was born and raised in Tacoma, and he was telling me about, this Hawaiian place is like really good. And I'm like, oh, for real? And all the other cops are like, oh yeah, it's good Hawaiian food. I said, in Eastern Washington, let me check it up. So I looked it up on my phone. I forget what it was called, but I looked at my phone and I was like, this is the place you guys are talking about? It had like curly cut fries, it had like wraps, and it had like just like some haole food. It looked like it was haole food, and I was like, bro, I don't know if this place like looks good. And they were like, well, he's from Tacoma. He's not from the island, so maybe it's good there. And it was more funnier when you were there. But dude, sometimes Hawaiian food could go really sideways, and it's like, well, it's not really authentic. 808 Grinds is authentic food for sure.
There you go. Cool. Any other spots?
Man, me and my wife. So where I do like to get down is like, I'm a big burrito guy. Like if I know I'm either going to lift heavy or I'm going to train sometime in that day, or like I have a bigger day of calorie burn the next day, dude, I'll get a burrito. And I'm a big burrito guy. Even we could talk about San Jose burritos. I'm more of an iguana guy than La Victoria. I've always liked iguanas.
Okay.
Loyal to my soil. But I would get down on La Victoria if the people that I was with wanted to go there. So again, I could get down on the orange sauce, like the legendary orange sauce.
Yeah.
But going back to Portland, I would say like me and my wife at one point, we were like, we should just start an Instagram account with all the burrito places we've been. We've probably been to like 20 plus burrito places all over, carts, brick and mortars, like whatever. I'm gonna say like El Jefe, which is off the 217, kind of in Tigard. They do chicken is their specialty, like pollo, like roasted chicken kind.
Yeah.
And they actually grill it, charcoal grill it. So when you're driving there, the whole right next to the food truck is like this big, not barbecue pit. It's like a big grill pit, and they cook all the chicken fresh in the morning or whatever. So after my son's swim class, I'm like, I'm gonna go to El Jefe because I'm gonna work out later. Blah blah blah, and we'll go. And this burrito is probably like the size of your forearm. It's like it's quality too. It's not just the size of it, like the quality of the meat. They actually like you could tell they put time in serving everything. Like all their sauces are on point. Like El Jefe, they have one truck, and they actually have just started the brick and mortar too. So like they're successful.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, El Jefe, that place is fire. That place is good.
That's awesome. Sidebar, you're talking about grilled chicken, like out in the open. I've been to Hawaii where there's guys grilling huli chicken. Explain that to everybody.
Huli chicken, there's a big one off of North Shore, kind of on the way to Kahuku. And I think the mayor of Flavortown, Guy Fieri, might have went there. And huli is like a spinning or like a dancing chicken. So essentially it's like a big, think of it like a rotisserie, and then like they do it over like low heat over time, and it spins out. And what it does is like it cooks the chicken like low and slow. It's evenly. It has like a smoky kind of flavor to it. And I'm a big fan of huli chicken because it's clean, it's simple. I know what it is. Like the flavors are all on point, and it's pretty much a staple in Hawaiian food. Huli chicken. Yeah, the spot that comes to mind is the one on the North Shore, and I've been there even before the mayor of Flavortown was there. I've been going there, so it's a good spot. I don't know the name of it, unfortunately, but there's probably only be one or two of them that's on the North Shore on the way to Kuhuku.
Yeah, there's some random guys doing it too on the side of the road too, or they're parked in front of like certain shops.
That's the thing about Hawaii too, is like it's kind of like in San Jose, or even I was just out in Eastern Washington for 2 weeks, and like there's something about these places sometimes that they don't even have a truck. They don't have a brick and mortar. They're just some guy doing huli chicken out of the garage. And Hawaii's like that, where it's kind of like no one's really going to come down and say, you know what, is this thing clean? Is this all sanitized? It's like, hey, bro, the guy's just making some barbecue chicken. Like, pull up. Get a plate for $8. And like that, I've driven by. I've seen people do it. Dude, I like that. Like hustle. I consider myself somewhat of a hustler myself. So when I see people do it, it's like, yeah, man, like get after it, support that, Yeah, huli chicken, if you guys are ever in Hawaii, that's definitely one thing that I could stand on, is go for that.
Yeah, it's good. It's got some sort of marinade or seasoning on there.
Yep.
And then I've seen the Latin guys do it too. They've got their own version too. And they usually they'll have some rice and beans for you, and salsa, maybe some hot sauce. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good times. What about there's Portland is known for, they're probably one of the first cities to do food trucks.
Yep.
Are there any food trucks that you like?
I like let me think because I've been to a bunch of them. There's a Beaverton Pod. It's kind of over by if you just look at Beaverton.
Yeah, and these pods are basically groups of food trucks put together, which you don't see a lot, but Portland was one of the first to do that, and now they're popping up all over the place.
Even when I used to I used to bounce in San Jose, and when I was moving to Portland, one of the guys, Alfie, was like, "Oh, Portland has good food truck scene." At that point, I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea. Like,
to us, it was like Roach Coach, like terrible. We're gonna get the worst food possible off the truck because it's like a liquor store on wheels, kind of.
Yeah.
Or 7-Eleven.
So the concept,
at least the 7-Eleven here, 7-Eleven Japan is a whole
Japan,
different thing.
yeah, you could live off of that.
I was just telling you about, yeah, we could talk about Japan too. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my buddy, right when I moved, this is probably, I guess 11, 12 years ago now, he was like, oh, Portland food cart scene. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's popular out there. They have rolling restaurants and cuisines and whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when I got settled here, I was like, oh, damn, like it's actually like a cultural movement. Like they're actually, because you could go to this Beaverton pod, and there's pods everywhere all over Portland, but this Beaverton one, you go to a regular, like a food truck pod, which is more popular now, so I'm sure you guys, listeners, will know. But you'll go there, they'll have Thai food, they'll have barbecue, they'll have Egyptian food, they'll have like every of wide variety of cuisine, Mexican food, any type of food you ever want. You could go to this food cart and not eat the same thing for like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, not even that. If your palate's more expanded, you could eat something different every day, you know.
That's awesome.
There's a barbecue one, Matt's Barbecue, that actually has like, it's up on Mississippi Street, kind of in Nopo, like North Portland, but that has a lot of buzz. Like you got to get there early, you gotta wait in line, and like a lot of barbecue places, it takes time to craft it.
Yeah,
and they only make so much of it. So yeah, when something kind of gets buzz, kind of like Nong's got, I remember being here and like it got all the write-ups and it got all the hype, and it kind of like blew up the spot in a good way, because that's what the person's working for. But then sometimes like it blows up and like you have to wait in line for 25 minutes just to go, and it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go down the street and just get some, I'm gonna hit up somewhere else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like some people,
it can be tough.
It can be tough.
You know, when a chef or TV personality rolls through there and blows it up. I mean, even Anthony Bourdain was like, you know what? I'm not telling you where this spot's at.
Perfect.
Like he was in Italy somewhere and he was like, you know what? I'm not doing that.
You got to find out yourself.
Find it yourself. You know what it looks like. That's all I'm going to give you. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it does help. Like there is sometimes where someone comes through and they were struggling. They were on their last leg and they're like, you know what? You came through and
saved my
blew my business up and took care of me, you know? So sometimes it works really well.
That's a good point. I mean, that's like everything in life where it's the dichotomy. It's both, right? It's good and positive. It's good and bad. It's the double-edged blade of the publicity that you get, but then the publicity just blows it up, and that could sometimes change the quality. That could sometimes change the ownership. Like who knows what that type of fame or money will bring to the actual end product. And sometimes like Nong's, for example, their product stayed the same regardless of the write-ups, regardless of all the hype that it got. And nowadays, like when I haven't gone there in years, but nowadays, like you could kind of time the window where it's like, it's probably not gonna be that busy now, so let's go there now.
Yeah, you probably have a little bit of inside track being a local, you know, and of course I know my local spots too, but yeah, you just time it and go, it's going to be a slow day today. I can slide in there.
Check it out.
You know, or I know, you know, there's one chef that he's got a ramen spot next to him.
Okay.
And he's like, they close at 3. I slide in there at 2:30. No wait, done.
In and out.
Yeah. It's a good spot. Ramen Nagi in Palo Alto. That's a bomb spot.
Okay, maybe I'll hit that up.
You
next
come
time
up.
I'm in
Yeah.
the Bay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy actually right over here, West Coast Bento, I think it is, and he's been doing these kebabs. His shtick is like kebabs, and I haven't been there in years. I know they're still there, but he makes these like charcoal grilled, kind of like Japanese kebab, but it's simple. It's like a container of white rice and like 2 kebabs, and you could get chicken, you could get beef, and he probably has I don't even know what he probably has pork option too. But last time I drove by, dude, he was still there. At one point it was like $5, and obviously times changed. Now it's like $7 or $8 or whatever it is. But dude, at one point it was like fire kebabs. You're in a hurry, and like he basically only has like a sign that says West Coast Bento, and if you walked by it and didn't see the sign, you'd probably smell it, but you'd miss it if you didn't know it was there. It's kind of tucked away off of like 23rd, like Northwest 23rd. But West Coast Bento, that's like a super small hole in the wall. The owner himself is actually there, like grilling it, doing it, and kind of like, I just respect the fact that it's like, this is all we have. Like all we have are these options of kebabs, and if that's not what you want, there's other places you could go. Yeah. So I kind of like how when chefs or people kind of stand by their guns, and it's like, or like, not again, going back to Nong's, where it's like, this is what I specialize in, and if you want it, come and get it. If not, and that's not your palate, we're not going to change this for you or just for anyone. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. No substitutions. I like it too, because a lot of times when you go to places, they've spent their time and crafted it.
Perfecting the craft.
Yeah. You know, that's even one of your quotes.
Love it.
Yeah. And let's get into a little bit of Dojo Outfitters just to talk about it. We're here. Tell us about it, why you started the business, and, you know, how's it going, and what else you got going on?
Yeah. Dojo Outfitters. Obviously, we're on location, and it's been my baby. It's been my brainchild for the last. We turned 10 in September. I got my business management degree from San Jose State while doing training for the Olympics at the Olympic Training Center in San Jose. Thank God I got my business degree. It took me like 7 or 8 years, but I got it. And when I got out, moved up to Portland to start a judo dojo, and at the same time, I wanted to start a business. And coming from Hawaii, there's a lot of like surf shops or skate shops, mostly surf shops, that really influenced me growing up. Was like Town and Country and Hawaiian Island Creations. Because like if you go to Ala Moana, or if you go to Pro Ridge, or you go to Windward Mall, like the 3 major malls on Oahu, they're always going to have a TNC, they're always going to have a HIC. And they essentially, like, it's a surf brick and mortar store. So they'll sell sex wax, they'll sell, like, for your board, they'll sell slippers, they'll sell the lifestyle board short, like anything that you could think of. Like going to HIC in Ala Moana is like a core memory for me as a child, like growing up. And I think, again, unfortunately, always looking back in hindsight, like getting my business degree, being in Hawaii, being exposed to brick and mortar stores, I was like, and then doing martial arts, I was like, dude, I'm gonna do a gi store. I started out as a gi store. So Dojo Outfitters started out in a storage unit about 5 minutes from here. It was like 300 or 400 square feet, and we just had gis. And after a while, I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell some, shirts and rash guards. And what I realized, like, I didn't start Dojo Outfitters to be a brand. It was supposed to just be a store. And in that process, I would bring in other brands' shirts and other brands' rash guards, and they would kind of sell. And then I started, we did Dojo Outfitters shirt. We did a few shirts, and then those like sold a lot. And I was like, well, people actually want like a Dojo Outfitters shirt. Like, it blew my mind. I thought they would just want like a scramble shirt, which is great. Like, I like scramble, but yeah. I thought the audience wanted existing brands. When in reality, once we introduced Dojo Outfitter as a brand, I couldn't even sell those other brands anymore. Like, it's sat on the shelf in the Dojo Outfitter. So kind of just doing it like now we have jogger sets, and we have hoodies, and we have our own rash guards and our own gis and our hats, and like we kind of transcended genres from just being the store to now it's actually a brand. And yeah, it's a passion. It's a work of passion. A lot of the designs I do myself. I work with great artists, but I'll prompt the artist. So I'll say, hey, I want this, whether it be like a SUV. I remember one time we did a rash guard a couple of releases ago. It was this military SUV that I saw, and I was like, I sent it to my artist. I said, oh, I want to do a no-gi kit inspired by this military SUV. And she sent back the artwork. I said, this is incredible. Can you put a scorpion? Like, I want the scorpion logo on there. So like, I know at this point, like, my ability to create, I don't have the Adobe Photoshop skills. I don't have the actual artist skills, but I have vision. I have the vision and the ability to articulate how I want it to be done. And if I give that to the right artist and the right people, the chemistry and connection that we have at this point is they're probably going to drop a pin very close, if not on, what I'm looking for. And if I do need to make a change because we're so close and I could talk to them, I'll say, hey, you know what, eliminate that. Or I was thinking more, and basically within like 1 or 2 revisions, it's already like done deal. So it's that tangible. I've always been more of a tangible, organic guy versus like a big, like, by the book and steps and rules and stuff like that. So if it feels and visually looks good for me, it feels good, I'm going to do it. If it feels, and like, if I'm looking at a no-gi kit or a gi, if it doesn't feel like, it doesn't look or sit right, I'll probably make a change. So at that point, like, this is just, I never set out to even be that.
Yeah.
But this is all that came along the journey of running Dojo Outfitters for the last 10 years, and now we're dropping no-gi sets once every month. Yeah. Because the no-gi game blew up easily 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. And keep in mind, we started as a gi store. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, okay, well, obviously, like, just because I prefer the gi, but I'm going to cater towards jiu-jitsu and grappling in general, where it's like, dude, if no-gi is busting off, I'm going to have to follow where the market is. Yeah. And, the no-gi game is blowing up. due to the popularity. Now they're on UFC Fight Pass, Polaris and UFC kind of did a good job of like bringing in grappling tournaments and highlighting grappling athletes to a whole nother audience.
Yeah.
So just kind of keeping up with the times and keeping up as the industry changes, the store and the brand has to adapt to those changes as well.
Yeah, and it's been awesome to see. Obviously, myself and everyone at my school own a bunch of Dojo Outfitters gear. We love it, and we've seen it progress and change. And like you've gone from just a shirt to now a full gi, in different editions. We're staring at your store today. We're here. You got hoodies. Andy's got a vault of gis that gis that have come out that are hard to get,
dead stock gis,
some that they're not available anymore, but he's got some secret stash, so you can check him out for that. And then you've got probably 15-20 different brands of gis over there on the wall, and then of course your own gear. So it's really cool to see you keep growing and like just always evolving in your own space, which is really cool.
Yeah, like you said, perfecting the craft.
Yeah.
Right. And then being aware that you might not always have the answers or actually know the way, but trusting that you're on the path and you're doing the journey and doing the right things. And what does that sound like to me? It sounds like martial arts.
Yeah.
It sounds like what you already learned in the dojo. It sounds like what you learn and what resonates with you when you put the gi on. Or no gi, but when you step on the tatami, how about that? Whether it's judo, jiu-jitsu, no gi, and to a certain extent, even wrestling too, because nothing comes easy as a small business owner. I had my door smashed in 2 weeks ago. I've had landlord disputes. I've had tax issues, all of which I overcame. But when those type of things land on your radar, they become the biggest thing on your radar. Where it's like, oh shit, my landlord, like. Contract leasing stuff, like no one out here is telling you any of that stuff. Like that's up to you as the small business owner to not step on that landmine yourself. And COVID, like me surviving, like Dojo Outfitters surviving COVID gave me so much confidence as a small business owner, because I'm not gonna swear, but
you can if you want.
But goddamn, like I did that. Like I survived the worldwide pandemic when gyms were shut down, and I run a jiu-jitsu judo store.
Yeah.
Like for me, again, when you're the one in it, the perception of the point of the spear is different than the spear itself. So for me, it's like, of course I was going to survive COVID, but looking back on it now, 4 years ago, the majority of the people we cater towards their gyms were closed. And they went kind of underground garage. Like there was still people training, but me and you can't sit here and be like, COVID had no effect on the training population.
Oh, yeah.
It did.
We lost gyms.
We lost entire gyms, and people, whatever side
academies,
whatever side of the fence you're on, people were like, I don't know if I want to be sweating and bleeding on breathing next to somebody during this time.
Yeah.
So, and the store still survived. Like we still did it. Testament to myself and acumen, but a testament to a lot of people that I surrounded myself with at that time too. Landlord helped me out. Like the community and the culture also helped out and supported the store then too. So it's not just a testament to me. I'm not going to stand here and say it was all me, but to pilot the ship during that time, it's fucking crazy, and I did it.
Yeah.
So now a slow month or a slow whatever it is, I'm just or when times are high, like I'm always just like more even keeled and more seasoned.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's good advice. I love the way, oftentimes Mike has the black belt speak at promotions, and Andy always has a great way of putting things out there. Motivating the younger belts to keep training, but it's also like just giving perspective. It's like the belt has some responsibility. I think I remember you saying
that is when I say,
and just remembering that it's all a process. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Yep.
Growth isn't always linear too, right? And growth isn't always comfortable.
Yeah.
And like, what better lesson than life or martial arts will teach you that? And one of the things that I just saw, actually, let me pull it up really quickly, because I was out in Hawaii, and one of the quotes I was looking up, it actually came from Helio Gracie, and it says, "Nothing will beat you more than life will." And I think that jiu-jitsu is the better way of translating how to go through those struggles, loving what you do.
Yeah.
And like for me, it's like when I see and read that, like, first of all, Helio Gracie, much respect to him, but he nailed it. Like he nailed, like nothing's gonna hit as hard like Rocky, where it's like nothing hits as hard as life.
Yeah.
You know, like God damn, like
Keeps coming.
it keeps coming. And like jiu-jitsu and judo for me has helped me deal with so much challenges in life that I don't even know where I would be without it. And that's cliche. You talk to anyone that has been in this game for that long, they'll be like, I don't know where I would be. But for real, given my life circumstances, and some people know it, some people don't. Like I could have fell either way on this, balancing on this night. I could have fell either way.
Yeah.
And I fell into the dojo, and I've never stopped, because at one point in my life, who knows, like it was such a treacherous time that I could have easily fell into despair and just fell into something else, not even knowing it. Like that's like, so when I talk at promotions, or I talk to now I'm actually 38. I'm actually around people that are like 22, 24. And they're looking at me like I'm an old head. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And when I'm around them, or even like defensive tactics now, that's something that I just started doing recently. And like, I'm so passionate about it that sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like, I'm just so excited to be around law enforcement. And like, I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to actually like bring some skills, not only some technical skills, but some mental skills to these young recruits. Some of them are young, some of them are other fellow defensive tactics. They're already kind of seasoned. But I was telling I don't want to say kid, he's not a kid. I was telling a student, I was like, oh, this move, this technique. And I was like, how old are you? He's like 22. I said, what? I said, you don't know the Scorpion Deathlock? He says, no. I'm like, from wrestling? He's like, oh, I know like The Rock and Stone Cold. I said, how old are you? 22. I said, what?
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, like just going back to it, yeah, I'm blessed. I've been around great senseis. I've been around bad senseis, and I've learned from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And then, you know, to close it out, we always have a couple fun questions.
Oh, let's do it.
And I appreciate your time. Andy is opening the shop very soon here, so thank you for your time. But a couple fun things. Any dish basically that you'd want someone to try or make at home?
Ooh, I actually, during COVID, I started making like my own pasta, like pasta with flour and egg and salt and water. Like I actually did it, and I thought it was fire. Obviously, I'm very biased because I made it, but like, dude, make your own pasta. Like, go on YouTube, just watch some videos or two. That's what I did, and I can't believe it was like these fat like fettuccine noodles.
Nice.
But I haven't even made it since then. Maybe today I should actually start getting back in my pasta game. But my wife was like, "You make pasta too?"
Yeah, I did gnocchis recently.
Oh, that'd be nice. And you just boil them.
Yeah, like if you have even leftover boiled potatoes, you turn them into gnocchis.
Oh,
Add them to flour and egg and salt.
Okay, see,
and then roll them, cut them, boil them.
Yeah,
and then you can sauces is up to you. You do whatever you want with them.
We did some Wagyu ground beef the other day with some sauce, so I should have done my own noodles for that too. But yeah, make your own pasta. I'll say make your own pasta.
Great. Other one, I know we're surrounded by tools in here, but I usually go with what is your favorite kind of everyday thing that makes your life easier, or it's a tool that you use every day and you're like, man, this
in the kitchen
is cool. It could be in the kitchen or in life.
If it's kitchen, it got to be the air fryer. It got to be the air fryer. I use the air fryer every day for whether it be my meals, my kids' meals, like air fryer. And I'm a new convert to air fryer. I never used to even know what it was. I got my tax return a couple of years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna finally see what this air fryer thing's about. It's like $40 at Costco.
Yeah,
shout out to Costco. And then I was like, dude,
sponsor this podcast,
please, Kirkland. We need,
hook it up.
Let's do it. No, but hey, you use it breakfast, lunch, dinner, like whatever, like desserts. I'm a huge air fryer guy because maybe it's fast and it's quick and it's efficient.
Yeah,
but not air fryer. As far as other tools, I would say it's funny because I actually ran this by my wife on the drive down here, and she was like, "What are you gonna say, dude? A lemon squeezer. Shout out to the lemon squeezers. Yeah. You know who hates lemon squeezers? Jacob Bell.
Oh, I knew Jake's name would come up.
Jacob Bell. I was like, man, I'm over here in the Stone Age using my hands to squeeze limes. Let me get Jake one. And I bought it, and he was like, I ain't using that. I said, what's the matter with you, Jake? I have 2 lemon squeezers right here in my hands. I was like, bro, you could still get a whole nother squeeze if you use a lemon squeezer.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, if you squeeze it too much, it gets too bitter, it gets too sweet. I said, bro, how old are you? He's older than me. But yeah, hey, something small, lemon squeezer, sure, I'll use that in the kitchen.
Yeah, you know, actually, lemon squeezer is kind of funny. So my trip to Japan, we won't go too long, but my trip to Japan expanded a bunch of different food places, and we were in Kyoto, and we had in different areas have different tempura.
Okay, yeah.
So we had Kyoto style, and it's very light, but they brought you get your plate set. It's everything's laid out for you, and then the lemon was sitting on basically looked like a wedge. So it's like two pieces of metal on a hinge. And so all you had to do was just flip the hinge close and then squeeze. And it was a perfect, like, you don't have to some people don't want to touch the lemon and then smell like lemon the rest of the night. But like,
it's a legit too. Karaage, they put the lemon on the karaage, the chicken karaage too.
We could talk about karaage. Karaage could be a whole karaage could be a whole podcast.
In Japan, karaage is that's what I go for sure. Yeah. But yeah, you have to put the lemon on the karaage too. So shout out to the lemon squeezers and citrus squeezers.
There you go. And that's it. I think you appreciate your time and sharing your story, and you gave a lot of advice, which is great. People need to hear the struggle is not always easy. It takes work, takes time, takes pressure.
Yeah,
takes
diamonds.
Yep.
And I want to say thank you thank you again for even thinking of me as the opportunity and thinking of me as an individual that you would share your platform with. So
for sure,
I had a great time today. I appreciate, even when I saw your message last night, I was like, yeah, let's get together. Let's try and bang one out. So, man, I appreciate you for having me on here. Think of me as even someone that people will even listen to, but I appreciate you very much.
Oh, they will, man.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Everybody, we're out. Take care. And as a quick reminder, the restaurants and gear talked about on each episode can be found on my website, foodoriginspodcast.com. I appreciate your support, and thanks for listening.